Okay, today we're playing a game on Volsky Industries. We were in the Platinum SR range, and we were playing Reinhardt basically the entire way through. There's a little bit of Winston in there, but not very much. It's basically all Reinhardt. Current team composition is Reinhardt, Roadhog, Junkrat, Torbjorn, Anna, and Zenyatta. So, we've got our two DPS get absolutely dunked on by Pharah, and Volsky Industries fairly high chance of the enemy team having a Pharah. So we'll be a little bit upset about that one, but I don't really have anything to say about it, so let's just start the game. So we're going to try and get some ult charge from the Fire Strike at the start. Roadhog's mad far up. We've learned they have a Doom Fist. This is terribly inconvenient for us. They also have a Bridget. This is of moderate inconvenience to us. They have a Widowmaker, which is of dreadful inconvenience to us. Fire Strike didn't accomplish very much right there. Rather than throwing the fire, I assume we were trying to throw it at Widowmaker? Maybe not. Perhaps we just got, like, shook. Yeah, I guess so, because Widowmaker's actually over there. I thought we were checking at Widowmaker for a second, and I was going to complain about that. But no, it doesn't look like it, actually. So, we've learned they don't really have a tank. They've got Zarya and Bridget, and that's kind of it. Unfortunately, Torbjorn just went and got himself killed. There was a question in the email about whether Torbjorn dying right there was our fault or not. Nah, he was just walking around on top of the truck in full view of a Widowmaker, so he got shot in his extremely large head hitbox. There's, you know, it's not that much you can do, really. And so, now, just sort of slowly around us, everyone is being killed. It's he dies. Their Mercy dies right at the start of the fight, which is usually a bad sign. But then Zenyatta gets Doom-Fisted, which is, you know, not exactly as surprising. And then Widowmaker's basically killed everybody. They have a fairly inconvenient team, because they've got a lot of people who are going to drive you out of cover. Bridget, Tracer, and Doomfist. And then they have the Widowmaker for when you are out of cover as well. So, it's not, you know, it's very inconvenient. They don't actually have a tank. The way you win against this kind of team comp is basically, like, I know it doesn't sound particularly helpful, but you just kind of all play as a team and don't get picked off. Because it's one of those, it's like a bad team comp only ever really succeeds against a good team comp, because the good team comp did shit like that, basically. Because the more disorganized and, like, spread out you get, the more likely you are to get picked off by one of the 12 DPS trying to pick you off. Then we got shoved into the corner by Doomfist and fucked royally right there, so, as is known to happen to Reinhardt versus Doomfist. So, there was another question in the email about if changing to Winston here was a good idea, and, you know, it has its benefits, which is that we kill Widowmaker, and we can try and zone Tracer. Widowmaker so far has felt like she's been quite the problem. The downside, however, is that Winston does very, very little to help kill Doomfist, and I feel like Doomfist is the bigger problem overall than Widowmaker is. Mostly because, like, Widowmaker is basically waiting for us to get forced out of position, which is more a result of, like, the Doomfist and Tracer kind of pushing people out of cover. So, we can kill the Widowmaker, try to, certainly, and that's good, but the Doomfist we can't really do, like, much of anything about. And I mean, to be fair, there are not many tanks that can really do anything about Doomfist. He kind of fucks basically all tanks. Except Roadhog. Doesn't really fuck Roadhog, but Roadhog's barely a tank, as we've established on numerous occasions previously. So we've put our bubble down here, I suppose because of the pulse bomb, but it didn't end up accomplishing anything, and it's kind of unlikely to, really, stop the pulse bomb if she's, like, chucked it directly at you. Like, you're usually better off just trying to walk away from it rather than use the bubble to try and block it. And, you know, if you got your bubble on cooldown, it's a long-ass cooldown, and Winston can't really do that much when his bubble is on cooldown. There is the other thing with playing Winston as well, that they have a baguette on their team. So it really sort of depends on who you think, like, the bigger issue is. Like, obviously we chose the bigger issue as being Widowmaker. Like, we do have to be able to kill the Widowmaker, though. And if our team is being pressured constantly, it's hard to find an opportunity to go out and actually kill the Widowmaker. Because, like, now we're getting to come out and kill the Widowmaker, but we basically had to kill everyone else first before we actually had the opportunity to do so. And I mean, it's like, what do you do if you're playing Reinhardt? You try and block the Widowmaker, and you get bullied around by the two flankers. So, you just sort of trade one terrible thing for another, you know? Well, right, not one terrible thing for another, like one bad situation for another bad situation. I would have probably changed to Winston, just because the Doomfist is going to make it so difficult as well. So we kind of lose track of her right here. And what actually happened was she hook-shotted up onto the platform behind us. This is the thing with Primal Rage, is it is very easy to lose track of the person that you're trying to kill, especially if they have a movement ability. But it looked like she just, like, hook-shotted up to the balcony beside us. I do wish that, like, Primal Rage went to a third-person camera, because I find it dreadfully difficult to keep track of what's happening when I'm in Primal Rage, but it might also just be that I'm bad. So I would like if Blizzard went out of their way to accommodate my badness a little bit more. So we've lost both our healers and our Doomfist that we now have as well. And we go out here to try and kill Mercy. Like, might as well try at this point. Oh, a little bit of lag. Because basically, lost half our team, both our healers at that point. It wasn't exactly looking good. So changing to Winston, we can see in hindsight, didn't really accomplish that much. But I struggle to think of a pick that was likely to accomplish much more, really. Because, like, Roadhog can try and kill all of those people, but Roadhog isn't really a tank. But you can argue that, like, you don't... Well, did that guy keep playing Roadhog the entire way through, though? I suppose is the other thing. I'm not sure. We started to not really see much of our team. They didn't really have a tank, so we could sort of be justified in not having a tank. Orisa, counterintuitively enough, might have been the best pick, because we can block Widowmaker with the shield while still attempting to deal with the Doomfist and the Tracer, who are off on the side as well. Because Reinhardt has to keep the shield up, and then he can't really do anything else while he's holding the shield up. Orisa can have her shield up. Her shield isn't as good, but she can be doing other things while her shield is up. And if they've only got a Widowmaker to break the shield, it ain't gonna break that fast. That would have probably been the best bet overall. If we had a little bit more luck killing the Widowmaker as Winston, it might have gone better, but it can be difficult to find an opportunity to do so, especially when the enemy team is as aggressive as their team was. There's also, like, the true nightmare situation would be that, like, the Bridget just hangs out with the Widowmaker and, like, fucks you up every time you try and jump on her. But Bridget players don't do that. So you wouldn't have to worry about that one. Bridget players are not that smart, is essentially the issue there. Anyway, so they've got a Mei now, which is inconvenient also, because Mei is like your classic inconvenient hero, but she's just died to Moira's damage orb, so that's sad for her. Didn't manage to countercharge the Reinhardt, we just about slipped past him. Which ended up not really being that much of an issue, because he was super out of position at the end of the charge. And we were kind of out of position as well, but they weren't really in a position to punish us. We got knocked super far, didn't we? I was going back like, why did we end up all the way over there? We just got knocked like real far by the hammer swing. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes you get knocked super far, but it didn't matter. We ended up getting a lot of ground. They lost their Mei immediately, then Reinhardt died not long afterwards, so even though we died, we'd already gained so much ground on them that it was going to be difficult for them to actually stop us without any ultimates, because the round just started, after all. So we see now the Widowmaker has changed to Hanzo, And, who was that? That was May, has changed to Symmetra. And I would say overall their team got significantly more annoying, but that might just be because I hate Hanzo. You know, it might just be a personal bias thing more than anything else. So Doomfist was like... being a greedy hoe is essentially what it looked like Doomfist was doing right there. So their Hanzo's dead. We lost Doomfist. Now we've all lost a bunch of people right there. We lost our Doomfist. Then we lost McCree. They lost both their DPS, but then Hanzo got revived again, so it ends up being a net negative for us. Yeah, we don't want to be pushing in right now. Everybody else is trying to go in still, but we don't want to go in right now. We're missing both our DPS. There's really no way we win the fight. We're trying to get Roadhog to back up right here, but we're not really, like, accomplishing much of anything. We end up just kind of holding our shield up for nothing. We did want the Roadhog to... we were calling for Roadhog to back up, but he elected not to do... what the fuck was Mercy doing over here? How did this happen? How did Mercy end up in this position? Mercy's behind us on the left. How did this happen? How did this happen to her? What was she doing? They don't have like a far or anything. They don't even have a flanker. What happened? People do some fucked up things out there, you know? Like, people do some fucked up things. So Doomfist just died to Symmetra. Not much we can do about that one. It's taken us quite a while. Ooh, latency. Ooh. It's taken us quite a while to build up this Earth Shatter. We're nearly 2 minutes into the video, and we've only just built up Earth Shatter. That's pretty bad by Reinhardt standards, because it charges real fast. So I'm not actually that upset that we did this. I'm more upset that we, like, misaimed this, basically, because we could just... from this position, like, right now, I'm like, walk slightly to left, Earth Shatter both of them. Maybe Moira dodges it with Fade. You know, whatever. I'll take the chance to try and kill both healers with the Earth Shatter. And with hindsight, we can see she wouldn't have dodged it, because she didn't try to dodge it. So, I'm not upset that we Earth Shattered the Mercy. If you stop the Mercy, you've kind of killed 2 people. Because she was rezzing that person as well. Now they don't get to be alive either. Like, tenuously you've killed 2 people. But we could have tried to get both of these people right here. I mean, we just used Fire Strike as well. Why did we use Fire Strike? Was it to help kill the Reinhardt? Yeah, he died, but like we pushed the button without realizing. So I'm not upset we Earth Shattered the Mercy. I'm upset that we could have also Earth Shattered the Moira, and we elected to only hit the Mercy. Ooh, stretch it. You're like, oh, got him. Just hold it by the very tip of the hammer. He's upset about that one. And then Roadhog gets the credit for it. No justice. No justice. So we capture that checkpoint. Both teams have still got time to spare. We've got more time than them. Ooh, good heavens. We've got more time. So now look at that. Fucking, that's actually a more sensible team. How about that? We'll be more upset if they have a Pharah now than we would have been previously. But I mean, you know, such is life. Given the heroes they've picked on both rounds at this point, I don't really expect to see a Pharah though. Because mostly I'm expecting them to go Widow, Tracer, Doomfist again. Oh look, there's Widow. And I'm pretty sure they kept the Doomfist the entire way through. So Reinhardt just definitely committed a social faux pas. It is hard to pin somebody from this position just because pin gets real wonky when you're like right up on top of somebody. And he's not likely to hang out next to that wall. So I would rather just keep trying to hit the dude rather than go for the pin. Just because the pin seems so extremely unlikely to work out. So Widowmakers managed to get behind us. And they have a Sombra as well, I think. We managed to kill their Doomfist. It's a rare day that a Reinhardt gets to kill Doomfist. Yeah, Sombra just tried to hack us. We blocked it, so she didn't hack us. Widowmaker, I think, is still behind us. Yeah, we just got shot in the back. So she's deciding to machine gun us right now, even though that is not the correct play. Ooh, I hate when that happens. I hate when I'm like, oh, dude's coming to charge, counter charge. Oh, fuck. It happens a surprising amount of the time, honestly. And then I'm like, well, now I'm going like way the fuck further than I want to. And there's not really anything you can do about that because you're meant to countercharge the other Reinhardt if he's charging at you. So when you see it, you're like, countercharge. But if somebody else crowd controls him, you can end up like killing yourself as a result of that. Cause it has happened to me a lot. Where I've been like, I'm gonna countercharge this dude. Somebody crowd controls him. Or he gets booped out of the way. That sometimes happens. And you go into the enemy team and you fucking die. And it doesn't feel very good, strangely enough. You kind of feel like you die and it wasn't very deserved. So Sombra's harassing us. There's nothing, like, we can do about Sombra as Reinhardt. It's just, it's not feasible. It's one of those things where, like, you just try and block the hack as much as possible, and hope someone on your team deals with it, because Reinhardt just can't do anything about Sombra, tragically. Like, that happens to you, and, like, there's not a lot you can do. It's very unfortunate. I want to know when we push the button. That's what I'm looking for right now. We pushed it after we got booped. I don't recommend that one because we're if you're being booped, you're in the air, so you're giving people time to react to you, but it can also just be difficult to align it properly, especially if you're going over the person. Don't use Earth Shatter if you're in the air, is really the long and short of it. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with it. Oh, Mr. Jeff Kaplan is playing Roadhog. And yet, you know, things have not been going fantastically for us. I don't understand. So this, like, it's not looking good out here. It doesn't look untenable at the same time, so it's fair enough to come out here and try, but I'm certainly not optimistic. I don't know, like, just walk around the fucking barrels, dude. Like, that was real goofy. So, I don't know why I thought we had Earth Shatter. I was just gonna be like, alright, that's where we shatter, right there. Nope. This happens to me a lot, especially lately, where I, like, really decisively push the alt button and then be like, I don't have it. I just don't have it. And, I don't know why. It just keeps happening to me lately. Anyway. I've played as much Overwatch lately, because I've been playing League of Legends again. Don't do that, by the way. Don't play League of Legends, it's a bad game. Go play a nice, mediocre game, like Overwatch, instead. So we've been hacked, and now we've been pinned, and life is just really difficult sometimes. It's one of those situations where I'm just like, all you can do really is try and react faster to block the hack, and then react fast again to countercharge the Reinhardt in that situation. It's like, no tank likes to play against Sombra. That's just, like, the reality of Sombra. But Reinhardt gets, like, very, very fucked by having a Sombra on the enemy team, especially if the enemy team has another Reinhardt, which they probably do. Because the enemy Sombra can just kind of go, you lose. And you're like, well, alright, fine. Whatever. That's cool, too. I was hoping to have a nice, skillful battle with Reinhardt. You know, wiggle the shield back and forth at each other, swing some hammers, all that good stuff. But I guess instead I'll just get fucked. That's what happens. So I kind of imagine that, like, we've basically given up at this point, based off of, like, this whole arrangement. I mean, you know, you basically hope for the Earth Shatter that's gonna win you the game from that position, and, it doesn't often come for you. Oh, Genji just got immediately interrupted. I don't think we get back. We did change to a faster hero. Yeah, we don't get back in time. So, the good news is they got it there in overtime. So if we can capture it again with time to spare, we can have our turn, and they won't get their turn. And given that we did it previously in 2.5 minutes, odds are good. Odds are good. You know, they don't seem like a super coordinated team. They have a Genji now, so already I'm like, great news, because it's very rare you see a guy on defense play Genji well. You can play Genji on defense. I'm not saying you can't. You definitely can. The thing is, though, the Genji has to be good, and not many Genjis are. You know, a lot of Genjis tend to get boosted by the fact they are literally boosted by Ana. Oh, I got a fucking quadra kill or a quintuple kill with Nano Blade. Ooh, so skillful. Look at that. Oh, good heavens. What a skillful play. Well, look at that. He dashed through, he left-clicked, and then 2 people died. He dashed to another, left-clicked, and that person... Wow! That's a hard-to-execute maneuver right there. There's a little bit more to it than that, but basically it's pretty automatic. What was I saying? You can play Genji on defense, but the Genji needs to be good, and you still need to have, like, another DPS that can provide enough presence to account for the fact that Genji overall is quite a low presence hero, because he's a flanker. He isn't exactly going to be going out there, like, bullying people around in the same way that, like, a McCree or a Reaper or Mei would, you know? So, it's, and they've still got the Doomfist as well. So I'm basically, like, sick. Their DPS is not a great combo. This is good news for us. So we got pinned by their Reinhardt. That's obviously bad. Be careful about fire striking when you're really close to the enemy Reinhardt because of, like, this exact situation. If you start using fire strike and the enemy Reinhardt charges, you're fucked. The fire strike animation doesn't seem very long, but oh god, it turns out to be really long when you need to countercharge or put your shield up. So be careful about using fire strike when you're real close to the enemy Reinhardt. I don't like to be this way. Okay, there we go. I don't like to be this way when I'm watching somebody's game, where, like, the best advice I have overall is kind of just, like, play a different hero. I just feel like their team overall has been extremely anti-Reinhardt. And we talked about, like, the Winston pick already. I think Orisa has probably been the best overall choice for most of the... Well, definitely on the defending rounds, at the very least. The attacking rounds seem to have gone, like, fine overall. Mostly because their DPS are bad, and their Reinhardt keeps, like, getting killed right at the start, which is not helpful for them. But, like, the defending rounds have been very difficult to play Reinhardt against the team comps they've had. So, yeah, Winston kills Widowmaker, but that's kind of it. Widowmaker did seem like a problem. Overall, probably Orisa's been the best just because you can block Widow while trying to deal with the flankers as well. Orisa also kind of gets, still gets fucked over by, like, Sombra and stuff, but I mean, no tank doesn't get fucked over by Sombra. It's just kind of the reality of that hero. She's really good against tanks. But given... Oh, don't do that. I heard Lucio's ult, and it sounded, like, real weird while that one was happening. A little bit of latency going on. Oof, oof. Sometimes the charge comes out of nowhere, and you just get pinned. Life is difficult like that sometimes. Oh, it did block it, I was a little concerned for a second there. But yeah, overall, probably my best advice was, like, consider playing Orisa when you need to block something like a Widowmaker, but you also, your attention is required in other locations, because at the first defense round, their team was extraordinarily obnoxious, applies a lot of pressure from a lot of places, and if you can block and still shoot at the other people, that's beneficial. You could argue Zarya, because you can, like, block for the person who's going to get punched by Doomfist, but, like, that's inconvenient. Don't remember if the other dude was playing Roadhog still after a point, but, like, Roadhog would have been fine, even if, like, we were the only tank, because their only tank was Zarya, so, I mean, swings and roundabouts, basically. But I don't like my main advice to be, like, consider playing another hero, because I assume you want to hear about, like, the hero you sent the video in for, but, like, it's kind of all I have, most of what I have to say thus far, really. As well as, like, some stuff that we've talked about, but really, it's, like, kind of like, yeah, you just kind of get fucked in that situation, really. So here's the pivotal round, though, because, you might notice this video's timeline is still quite long, so this is the pivotal round, really. Let's go. So we've only got to capture 33% to win. And, it at the very least takes a while, doesn't it? Sorry for the slight disturbance. The cat's here now, though, if it makes you feel any better. He won't be here for very long, probably, because he never is. But he's here now. So, we've got to attack again. They've got the Symmetra again. We got Bastion as well. So, this is a very risky maneuver to go for as the Reinhardt, because there tends to be a lot of people sitting right next to this choke point. So taking your shield down to swing at the Symmetra turrets tends to result in sadness, which is what happened. More so than usual, because there was also a Bastion. But we did manage to get away with it. So they're like all in on the Bastion, as we can see. They're all up there on Bastion. And, you know what would be really aggravating? Is if we all went up there to try and get rid of the Bastion, and then the Symmetra teleported them to the other side, high ground. Oh, wouldn't that just be the absolute worst? So we have elected to go with the option of just push down besides them and start contesting the objective, so they have to jump down to fight us. This is a difficult objective to pull that one off versus the Bastion, because there's no cover on the point, and you can't even really stand in a position that's, like, out of his line of sight. So it tends to be difficult to do that one on this specific map, and it didn't quite work out, so we're unfortunately kind of like have to do something to dislodge the Bastion here. Because he again just, like, shoot down at you. The usual thing is that the enemy team will, like, panic and jump down and leave the Bastion behind, at which point he's just a sitting duck. But they had slightly more composure than that, and just kind of let the annoying heroes jump down to deal with us, while Bastion sat up there shooting at us. And it was very upsetting. So we do almost have Graviton. If we can build up Graviton Dragon Strike, that should honestly be enough, because they don't have a way to really deal with that. They got Lucio, but that's not as good as Transcendence. So their Bastion is not presently set up, and he was getting harassed by Sombra. So unfortunately, oh fuck, clicked over here and, like, dragged myself into the abyss. So unfortunately, Symmetra's just sitting in the alcove, microwaving us, and then when we have to countercharge Reinhardt, she's sitting there, she's already built up some charge, and the rest of the team shoots at us, and it doesn't go super well for us, as we can see right there. And they had a bunch of ultimates to use as well. Tragically, our team also used their ultimates on the fight that we lost. We were worried about something being up there. What was I saying? Our team used their ultimates as well in the fight that we didn't win, and we're unlikely to build up another Graviton in just a minute. We do have Earthshatter built up, so what I'm thinking now is our best plan is to, like, get them down off high ground, which they already are, and then try and land an Earthshatter on them. So we left our team behind, and that ended up getting them. It's very, like, we were trying to countercharge the dude, so I respect that, that's fair enough. Unfortunately, we missed the countercharge, and we ended up leaving our team behind, which got them Earthshattered. At that point, I'm not going to use my Earthshatter anymore, because that's, like, a really bad start to the fight. And that's the only Earth Shatter I'm getting this round. So I'm not going to use it right there just because it doesn't look like it's going to go super well. So I'd rather, even if there was a chance to pull it back, I'd rather save it for the reset because that doesn't look like a great position. So I'd rather wait for like a guaranteed at least decent engagement rather than trying to turn a bad engagement back around with it. So we haven't got long left, got like 20 seconds left. We got to start trying to go in. I mean, we don't have to start trying to go in. We can be a little bit more reserved than this, but I mean, no time like the present. So Reinhardt ended up swinging past. Interestingly enough, we both pinned the opposing team's Lucio rather than hitting each other. And then Dragon Blade was happening. Really, like, the thing that kind of fucked us up a lot during this round was, like, missing the counter charge on the other Reinhardt, just, like, sliding past him, which has put us in some unfortunate positions. Particularly during that the second to last fight where we, our team got earth-shattered as a result. So, like, we draw, tragically, I know. So everybody feels like they wasted their time. There was one last thing in the email, which was, would it be worth it to go from cover to cover so I had some shield left, or was it okay that I didn't have any for my team? On defense, I felt like I wasn't blocking anything but Widow's line of sight for a few seconds until I was run over by Doom, Bridget, and solo tank Zarya. That's basically what happened, yes. So there are times when not having the shields to like rush in on attack is fine. It's more important to just cover the ground quickly rather than slowly and maintain shield. But generally having more shield is better, so you usually go from cover to cover so that you can like advance onto the objective with like a decently healthy shield, rather than just trying to make it there in one shot where you'll arrive with like a basically broken barrier if it doesn't get broken on the way there. So it's usually better to go from cover to cover, wait for it to regenerate, and then go from cover to cover again, or cover to the objective, depending on like the map layout. That's usually better. Yeah, on defense it did feel like basically we like blocked Widow, got bullied by the rest of their team, and then ended up dying, and yeah, I think Orisa was the best just because you can block the line of sight while trying to deal with the other people, which was sort of an issue. We were blocking for them, blocking the Widow, which you kind of have to as Reinhardt, but the rest of them we couldn't do anything about. So I think Orisa was probably best overall. Winston could have worked, but it requires like the team to not get run over in our absence, which wasn't exactly going super well up until that point. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know. I will try to expand further. And I hope you found the video helpful.